They have like this like program or scheme where you can like apparently rent before you purchase your house. Hey guys! Welcome back to Cakap Banyak. Today we have Sean with us. Sean is a property YouTuber, and together we will be talking about the struggles of adulting.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So, when did you guys realize you were adults?
Oh, before that, Sean, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself?
Oh,
Yeah,
so
sure.
I have a YouTube channel that actually reviews about property, educating about people about properties. So because the gap of knowledge in property, because it's not mainstream, and it has always been these taboo topics, and it's not it's not really a dinner conversation. So I think that's always the problem. That's why part of adulting, I think, that is also part of the process.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm more keen to listen to your adulting story though.
All right, so let's start with me. So adulting to me, it's a never-ending process.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a very slow process. I think it's just one step at a time. First car, first job, first house, first girlfriend, first wife, first kid, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, to me, it started off when you decide to go on a path that is your own, where you don't just want to follow what your dad or your mom tells you to do. You kind of wanted to create your own path. And that's to me the start of adulting.
That's so good. Cause for me, I feel like I am not an adult at all. Even though I should be, and I do do things that would contribute to society, to my family, and that would make me an adult. But I would not consider myself an adult. But I have taken that journey tons of years ago. So maybe I am, but I just need to realize it.
You need to revert back into being an adult.
Yes, because it's important. Okay. Oh my gosh,
What
yeah.
about you, Sean? When did you realize that, okay, I gotta do some stuff
One
now?
defining moment.
It's when I move out from my parents' house. So when you finally get to move out yourself, then you finally realize dinner don't appear on the table itself. The clothes are not going to wash itself.
Yes.
So I think the whole process of being accountable for your own being, right? I think that's you need to take care of your hair, you need to take care of your even the shoes, the toilet, everything. I think so. That's part of self-care that is really adulting for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's very vivid in my. Then you realize that, holy shit, a lot of things you need to really pay for it. You didn't know that you need to pay for space, you need to pay for water, you need to pay for
Gas.
indoor water also you need to pay, then telecom also need to pay, then
All
what
the
are all
bills.
these?
Yeah, you open the fridge, it's like, what? You have a carton of eggs and that's about it, right?
If you have a carton of eggs, you just have air in the fridge.
And one bottle of ketchup at the end of it.
Oh God, no. Yeah, so that's insane to me, how we take that for granted.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just all part of adulting and just being grown up.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so. But let's talk about that. So what's the first step of adulting?
Maybe getting a job? Maybe? I don't know. Paying my first bill.
Okay.
And that would mean getting my first job, so.
So as the oldest here among us, Sean, what was your first job?
My first job, I think it's kind of different because I didn't go through the formal paths. It's after your degree only you get, right? I'm not as fortunate in that side. That's why I started working when I was 14.
Wow.
Okay.
So I was
What
working
kind of
in
illegal job were you working at?
unfortunately illegally in my father's factory.
Okay.
So we were doing hardcore stuff.
Hardcore, hard labor.
Labor.
These are two different things.
Wow.
Yeah, hard labor though.
Is it what you're carrying Tong gas?
Gunny sacks of rubber and tires and things like that. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So after that, I then moved into chocolate factories. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
As the what, like Charlie in Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
That's
So
so
I was in the
cool.
QC line where there's a line of chocolates. Then you get to this is not in shape.
You're,
Then you
you're QC.
Do you ever
So you just eat all the bad chocolate?
no, the badly formed ones.
Okay.
The show because they will melt it and redo again.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow. So that's a pretty sweet job, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean. Hey.
So after that, when I get into the degree, then after when I graduated, I need to fund myself for overseas education.
Nice.
But
Yes.
unfortunately, normal jobs don't pay you as well.
Yeah.
So during my tertiary education, I was a tuition teacher.
Nice.
And part of the crew is my student here. which is so weird.
What's up, Chen? You're making him feel real old, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's
your
so
math
crazy.
student now is at the crew, and then after
Coincidence.
that, I teach music as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you do?
yeah, I play in the orchestra, a Chinese orchestra.
What do you play?
What do you
The
I play the
Urhu?
erhu, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, not bad, man.
That is so impressive, man.
Multicultural.
Yeah, so I teach that, but you realize that then that is just sufficient, and you realize at that moment, right, you get paid peanuts,
Yeah.
and then you suddenly realize the value of money, right?
Yeah.
Then at that time I was staying myself already, then the bills I need to pay myself. Telephone bills I can barely afford my own telephone bills.
Right, right.
Yeah. Then when I got really serious is when I get into real estate. So I was a real estate agent 10 years ago.
Okay.
10 years ago I was a real estate agent. Yeah, so that's how I get started.
Wow.
So now we're full circle. Now you're here, man.
Yeah,
Cakap Banyak.
yeah.
All trades.
Mine is not as complicated. I did a lot of free labor for my dad.
Really?
Washing cars mostly, painting the
He
house.
pays you for those?
No, free labor.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Oh.
what I was going to
My
say.
first real job is working in a restaurant. Okay, service industry. I'm an extrovert, so I like serving people, giving people food is my thing. And then after that, I went to college and then started freelancing.
Yep.
MC. So like my job
Oh, yeah.
was like all like MCing and beatboxing and all that.
So cool.
And then after that, I became like a hits cruiser. Sorry,
Yep.
a Red FM rider, Red Rider. Yeah. Sorry, my bad. Hey guys. And then yeah, from there, that was like on street MCing pretty
That's
much.
so fun.
Yeah. And then after that, I got my first real job in Media Prima, which bada bing, bada boom, long story short, I end up here.
Good
And I've just
job.
always been creating content.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think for me, I was the same. So my first part-time job was serving people at a restaurant. I really loved it. I was like so happy every time I got back from work. But then again, I only worked like 6 hours a week.
No
In
wonder you
uni.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like an
I
escape
was
from
like,
I was like
some
working
extra money.
10 hours a day.
Oh God. Okay. And then I went into the marketing department for a little while, dabbled in that. That was hard to come by because that was like my first full-time job. And so I had to like, I graduated uni, bummed for like 4 months, and then I have no idea how this thing just like plopped on my lap, and I was like, oh, thank God. This place is 40 minutes away from where I live, but I'm just gonna take it because I need to pay bills. And so then from that, came back here, and now I am at Rev Asia and Says and doing video production.
All good
so
stuff.
yeah, it was a great journey, and it wasn't as hard as I know some other people's journeys have been, but I'm thankful and blessed.
Yeah. But you always get a job because of something, right? Right? It's always to pay bills.
Oh yeah.
You need to fund your
There's a
education.
purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in a state right now that most of my, I guess 30% of my income goes into preparing for this house, which I'm like in the process of buying right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so property guru. So teach me, teacher. Teach me,
us,
Sean.
teach us.
Okay, give me some tuition on
Okay.
this. Okay, so pretty much why I got into buying a house is because I'm a dad. My daughter is about 1.5 years, and we stay in a studio apartment right now. Most of
Okay.
the time, she lives with my mother-in-law. But eventually, she's gonna move in, and we need space to make another baby, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so we need place with rooms. You know, so it's our room, Lily's room, and a little dungeon. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I know what that room's for the next baby that comes in.
Yeah.
So we went shopping around. We finally got this one place. It's in Glenmarie. I won't say the name because privacy, but
Yeah.
you already know. I already told
Yeah.
you. Government loan because my
Government
wife is
loan.
a government
Yes.
worker, right?
Yeah.
So got the government loan. Unfortunately, that was as of April last year. It is now February of this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's 10 months.
Dude.
The complication is the sub-sale.
Yeah.
Because, so the building is complete. But, okay, so sub-sale means that, correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
You're buying it off of someone, you're not buying it from the developer.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
So buying it off someone, but the developer of the building, which was complete, was changing developers. I don't know what happened to the old one, it got bankrupt or something.
Yeah.
So in that process of the courts and exchanging all the legal permits and everything,
Correct, yeah.
authorization and everything, that took 6 months to get approved.
Yeah.
So when that's approved, then we had to kind of like reapply everything. So it's
Yep.
been 10 months and we're still waiting. My lawyer tells me it should take another 2 to 4 weeks. So I don't know. Does this normally happen when someone buys sub-sale?
Not all the time, but there's a certain percentage that these kind of things happen. And I think a lot of youth don't really understand the complication of buying a house.
Yeah.
Like those days back, like I bought my first house, I think like 8 years back when I was 23.
Yeah.
So at that time, market was not as kind to first-time home buyers today.
Yeah.
So I think the struggle of a lot of people don't even, because when you really know that you need a house, right, it's about your first job, going to a second, then people start getting married, right? You start getting all these wedding invitations.
Stop.
And most of the guys, when they are really into properties, only when they are about to get married.
Yeah.
It's like a prerequisite to get married, you know.
Yeah.
It's a requirement. It's
Yeah, yeah. So the mother-in-laws were like, you got home,
right?
No
Yeah.
home, no marry my daughter,
Yeah.
man.
So, but then I think sub-sales do have a little bit more complication, and you need a lot more capital. Like legally, you just need that 10%, which all salespeople tell you, but in actual fact, right, it's around 18%.
What's the other 8%?
So you have the valuation fees, you have the
Right.
bank loan fees,
Oh
you
my
have the
gosh.
documentation fee, you have a lot, and dan lain
Yeah.
that comes in later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all those are actually not at first. So the problem is when you buy sub-sale, right, the transaction is not one go.
Yeah.
Is you pay one bill, then you pay for then the second bill comes in. Hey, why I need to pay this again? Hey, why another lawyer fee?
But this was at that time, or is this like, or is it easier now? Like, is it like now? Is it all streamlined?
If you are buying sub-sales, I think it's still almost the same, because real estate, unfortunately, it's the least evolved segment in the industry right now.
Got it.
Yeah, the way we are constructing is somewhat still the same for houses. Yeah, so unfortunately, that's the process. That's why now you have a lot more new developers, new property developers, and they actually focus on new buyers.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So now if you look into the market, a lot of developers are actually easing the ownership process.
Okay.
So
But
now,
like how?
Yeah. So what are they doing to help these first-time buyers? Because there is a lot of overhang.
yeah.
Because like for me, I'll be like, I'm a first time buyer.
Yeah.
Like soon maybe. But like I still am not thinking about it because I just that is like too much commitment. I can't even commit to like going to a gym or
She's still
something.
single for
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Can't even commit to a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Whatever. But like I like it scares me thinking about like buying my house. Like there's just like I want to do so many like other stuff like travel and stuff, and buying a house seems like it's tying me down. Or like what if I don't like it? What if I don't like the area? So
Yeah. And it's
that
not like
makes
you
it
can
harder
leave.
for
You're stuck
me.
there for 30 years, right?
Oh, God.
While the loan is
And
still
that's
there.
the worst part. Like now, I think we are more privileged in terms of where if we are jobless, we always have a home to go back to.
Yeah.
Unlike our parents' days, right?
Yeah.
Rental is the main thing that you need to pay for.
Yeah, man.
So that actually allows, and that cultivates a culture where we like to test stuff. What if I don't like? Then I can switch jobs. Like now, when we switch jobs every 1 or 2 years, right? It's so easy and it's normal already. Back in the days, 8, 10 years, close eye is very normal.
Oh no.
And that also applies to what we are actually using. So we change phone like also very easily.
Yeah.
But the problem, like what you said just now, you log into a house, you cannot change for the next 35 years, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, yeah, just sell lah, very easy ma. Actually, you think owning is easy, right? Selling is even worse.
I'm not there yet, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to move in.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a struggle when a lot of people, and not everyone has that privilege to do house transactions all the time. It's like married, you are like married at max. No, if you're a celebrity, you get married a lot lah. But on a normal person, you like get married once.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
the same concept is when you splurge a lot on wedding, then you want to make sure it's perfect. But it's like for a day. But for a house, you want to make sure it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
For the next 35 years, which is almost impossible.
But I think I've seen like a few developers now, and even like some banks, they have like this like program or scheme where you can like apparently rent before you purchase
Yeah.
your house. And so like to me that's insane because like I never thought that that would be possible because like, you know, it's a house. I would just think that you buy it and that's it, sorry, too bad. But I'm so like happy to like know that there are these things now. I think I don't know, I saw one recently, it was like Eco Worlds.
Yeah.
And they had this I think it's like a new hashtag situation, and it's like called Insta Yours. And they basically let you rent the property, and you rent it for like a few years, and if you want to then buy it, you can buy it.
Yeah.
So
But you buy it at like the full price, or do you like
5 years ago price. That's what I heard.
Oh really? Okay,
Well,
cool.
tell me more about this. Tell me more about this that I missed when I was buying a property a few years ago.
Yes, Riyal.
So if you compare sub-sale, you need to pay, let's say for a $500,000 property, 500,000 property, you need to pay 18%, which is around 90,000 upfront cash.
Yes.
Which unfortunately, who has that money? Correct?
Who has that money?
So, and the process of saving up this, right? I think the property price also increased already.
Yeah, and then you're just constantly trying to catch up with it, and you can't catch up with it, right?
Yeah. So what I think now younger developers are actually looking into, which is we have credits, we don't have capital.
Yeah.
So so that's why you can see a lot of innovation in the financial services, where they ease and work with developers and come up with product like InstaYours.
Okay.
So you get to, so if I decide like, I'm not going to rent anymore, because there's only two forms of ownership. It's either you buy or rent. But the leap is too much.
Yeah.
The leap. Yeah. So, but now a lot of the times that when we rent, we think that, the old folks will tell you, buy yourself better lah, pay installment for people for what? That's the old school thought. But but we kind of adore the flexibility that comes with it. I want to go, I go.
Yeah.
But then when this product came out, so you get to lock a price down today, and you get to stay it for the next 5 years. So you can actually decide whether you want to buy this or not on the 4th year or the 5th year.
But are these like ready-made?
Yeah, already made. So you get to move in already.
Okay, great.
So it's like test driving a car, but like test driving your home.
Yeah, so it is and it forms that financial discipline as well. I think what's scary about owning a house is that
discipline.
you need to, the commitment part, almost 1/3 of your salary will be for lodging.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Right, and most of the time, because we don't realize that we need to pay for space.
Yeah.
I think that's the scary part. So I think these kind of ease the transition from for owning a property. I think that's what this scheme actually helps.
That's really good.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So the process here is that you get one of these hashtag InstaYours campaigns, right? Or these products, right?
Yeah.
So you start off renting for like 5 years or whatever, and at any time in the interval, you feel like I actually just want to stay here. What I really like about this is that when you move in, so a lot of people have this commitment issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
me.
So the problem is like you will go in, but you don't know if it's a good home for long term or not, right? So you go in. Number one, you get to test drive it. Number two, you already built that attachment to the house.
Yes.
So it makes it even more.
It's like
difficult.
yours.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I didn't find this when I was looking for a house.
So that I think that's the innovation in house ownership part, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
So I go through all these different property developers, right? Yeah. Those days, hardcore, you don't have 10%, don't even come to the sales gallery. And those days, there's no sales gallery don't exist.
Oh yeah.
It's only for the privilege. Like they get private messages, okay. But now it's all open, which I'm really loving it. And then I think like what you say is true. Like when you go into a location, right, it's more than just 3 planes or 3 axes.
Yeah. It's more than just 4 walls and a roof.
Correct. So what's in front of your house, what's behind your house? Where's the nearest mall? Where's the nearest school for your kids? Where's the nearest lake I can bring them to?
It's like about a community. You want
Yeah,
like a place
correct.
to call home. Yeah.
So EcoWorld, hashtag InstaYours. Just check it out if you guys want to see what properties you want to test drive.
Great for me and people who don't like commitment.
Okay, now, as the two guys who have been married or are married, and Gwen is still single, let's talk about the other element of adulting.
Yeah.
Something all the Asian aunties always go to.
Yes.
It's like, hey, Gwen, when are you going to get married?
So, with me, I feel like obviously I'm like single and I am not. Don't
What, you're
laugh
single?
at me.
She's
Don't laugh.
not ready to mingle yet.
And I'm the same age as Riyal, so it's like he's married, I'm not married.
I have a
obviously,
kid.
Yeah. Want to rub
It's
it
not
in
a
more?
competition. I think.
Yeah,
a
it's not.
competition.
You're right.
But if it is, I'm winning.
Whatever.
I always got to her and I'm like, Gwen, are you going to get married?
When are you gonna get married? Yeah, for me, like obviously in the future, I do want to get married. I do want to settle down and have kids and buy a house and stuff. But I'm just not there yet, and I will be there one day. But you are already there, so tell me about it.
Well, okay, this is how I feel about settling down in general.
Yeah.
Take as much time as you need to find a person.
Yeah.
When you have them, get that person locked down as quickly as possible. Okay.
So propose in like 5 seconds
Yeah, pretty much.
You're like
just snipe her.
oh, that's it. Yeah.
with a cupid.
Because sometimes like the trick
Arrow.
is you gotta find the right person.
Yeah.
It's like find the right car, the right house, or whatever. You really gotta take your time because it is not ideally it's not a 2-year commitment. Ideally, it needs to be
Yeah,
35
ideally.
and above your commitment, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, but once you get it, you gotta capture that person before anything, before it lets go in
Yeah.
any way. And then you can build something together. Also, double income households, the only way I can afford this
Oh
house.
my god, right?
Oh, that's so practical.
We love a double income.
I know. And my wife is not particularly materialistic as well, so that helps. What about you? Well, you just got married, right?
Yeah, I just got married recently. And cool fact, we
Congratulations.
dated a cycle, like a cycle of zodiac signs. It means like 12 years.
Oh wow. I thought you meant you dated 12 different
Wait.
people.
No.
Yeah, me too. I was like, what?
I'm not that feng shui must, mouse la, rat la.
Let's try a mouse.
Then try a
And
dragon.
2 months later, let's try a dragon. Let's try a sheep.
And yeah, so we dated 12 years before we decided to settle down. And I think in this self-discovery, and I think it's like a self-care stage when you start adulting.
Yeah.
When you are independent already, you can sort out your things really, and you have the ability in abundance to serve others. That's where you are ready, I'm supposed. So I think I do agree that you need a little bit more time. Don't rush into things.
Yeah.
So I think there's this concept also, when you find the right one, right, eventually they will wait also lah. So because my journey in this adulthood, right, is really bad. There's a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
we all struggle with adulting.
Yeah, my mother-in-law says that there's always the 3 most burning thing in your life is
Yeah.
number 1, act of getting married, act
Yes.
of buying a house, and when your kids are teenagers.
Oh my gosh.
That's the most burning thing in
Yeah.
your life.
I'm literally not even there for any of them yet.
I think you're part of the process of your parents' still.
Process. It's like, when are you getting married? I don't
Yeah.
know. So, that's it for our adulting struggles, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We solved adulting problems in 25 or 30 minutes or however long. we just
Well,
had.
I feel like I'm still no solution here.
Are you more scared or worried right now after hearing all the stories?
I mean, I feel like I'm okay, because like the biggest thing for me was like buying a house, but now I'm like, oh, it's easier now to buy a house with all
Yeah.
these housing schemes.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty glad, and settling down, like finding a guy that will just come one day.
I honestly feel like a lot of people, like especially us around our age, millennials and all that, we really get pressured to become adults.
Yeah.
And I think that our lifespans are getting longer. with
Correct.
medicine and
Are they
everything, right?
though?
Correct. I think what's interesting is that those days people actually die at 60, 70.
Yeah.
So when you should get married at 30.
Yeah.
Because it's literally your half-life crisis.
Right. But with the science and modern technology right now, I think we are able to live until 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think there's no pressure to get things figured out at a young age. I think you shouldn't feel pressured. Because times has changed, then you have abundance of opportunity. Last time, no choice. What?
True.
Yeah.
There's only one thing to do.
Yeah.
Make babies. What?
And hope you can make
Hope they succeed.
hope they succeed and give you some income back.
Yeah, bring honor to your
That's
family.
investment too.
Yeah. Oh no, kids are liability, man. Don't fall into it. It's not worth it.
We would like to thank EcoWorld for sponsoring this video.
And of course, if you guys want to know more about the hashtag InstaYour scheme, you can check out EcoWorld, because this is a great scheme to help you rent and eventually buy the property.
Yeah.
Even though it's like 5 years in the future, it's still the same price that you started renting it at. So do check it out.
Yeah.
And,
And if you want to check out more of Sean,
Yep, you can follow me on IHERNG on my YouTube channel and other social media accounts. Yep.
all right. I guess we gotta say goodbye now, guys.
In sequence,
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Bye.